What up? What up? What up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Man, God, it's been like a week since I've been live. It's been a hot minute, right? I was away for work. Obviously, I don't do this full time. I wish I did. But if guys like Cyburn continue to do this, I'll be able to do this full time. Because I was like thinking about it. If I was able to do this full time, I would buy I would buy tickets to go to the NFL Combine and like stream there. If there was like a way I could do it, I would figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I would do that. But how much is a month membership? I make them cheap, man. I listen. Sooner or later, there will be more benefits coming to the show once I get some stuff more implemented when it comes to the memberships. Like, when I get more, I'm going to start when I get more content going. Like, there's going to be like certain videos only certain people can watch, members can only watch, subscribers can only watch. Then there's going to be only things like clothes that so I'm going to be making clothes. There's going to be more benefits to that as well. Especially because I'll be doing probably next season. I'm going to do a lot more meetups. I'm going to go to more Panthers games next season as well. I got a lot of ideas. So it's just coming. It's coming off the dome. Matt Chatter, you just being here, commenting that you're mad and stuff like that is a lot. Goes enough, man. You could just pound the like button. I've just met. You don't need to become a member. I'm just messing with you, man. So don't worry about it, man. You just being here supporting me is enough by me. You can now, if you are watching and you want to become a member today, please do so. But you don't have to become a member if you don't want to. No worries. Marcos Cash, that's my guy. That is my guy. That is why he is Marcos Cash, because he's cash money. Josh, keep pounding. So did any of y'all get to watch the NFL Combine? Because I know that I'm having to catch up on a lot of things. I've been keeping track of it. I just haven't been able to express my thoughts on a lot of things, right? I rewatched Dave Canales' press conference there. I rewatched all of that. Clay coming up in the community. I'm trying to make this a community not only for Panthers fans to come, but bring value here. All right. You bring good value content. I can see me finding a way to throw a few bucks. Hey, Matt Chatter, you just patting the like button is enough. I was just messing with you. Holy crap! Gifted one Ropp Star membership. Damn, Marcos, is it Christmas? Like, is it my birthday? Like, what is going on? You could receive a 1-month membership to interact, including the Ropp Star report. Oh, wow. Holy smokes. Y'all are coming in hot with these memberships already. You luckily recipient of the Ropp Star report membership will access to exclusive. Yep. So we'll go ahead and do that. We will turn that on. Y'all are coming in hot. This Friday's starting off good. It's already happy hour. I should start drinking. How do I become a member? There's a link. Actually, Jadarius, there's a link down below in the description of the live stream. Actually, it'll take you right to it. See, join the channel to access the perks. Because once I get some stuff implemented, there will be a lot of perks coming. Like, got things that are going to benefit you. All right. So that you can get, whether it's like a giveaway, whether it's a t-shirt, a jersey, an Amazon gift card. Like, there's going to be a lot of giveaways coming this coming up here soon. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming on. I'm still working on the Madden content. I'm still working on getting that figured out. This Elgato stuff is a lot harder than I think. I might have to be honest with you guys, I might have to buy a new computer. Not going to lie to you. I might have to buy a new computer just to do the Madden content that I want to do. So, and then, so that's going to be another, and for the computer that I The cheapest one I could find was like maybe $600, but I don't like buying cheap things. I'm more of a quality guy because I know in the long run, buying the good quality computer, if I'm going to do gaming, like especially for Madden content, right? To do that, you're going to need to spend the money. I don't like buying like cheap stuff and then it not working out. Same thing. It's like same thing with clothes. True Money, what's up? Marcos Fry, yeah, I see that, man. You're killing it. I appreciate that. You and Sideburn. You and Sideburn are killing it. All right. Enough of the chit chat. I know you're coming here for NFL content, Carolina Panthers content. So let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about because I got a lot to catch up on and give you guys my opinions on. So it's already a blessed Friday because of you guys. So thanks for everybody showing your support this morning. Just make sure you pound the like button. We are on the road to 10K subs, by the way. We're at 5K. We're at 10K. And then after that, it's 20K. And then once I reach 20K subs, because that's the ultimate goal, reach 20, 25K subs, then I'll be a full-time YouTuber because I will be able to live off that. Let me tell you something. YouTube don't pay a lot. They don't pay a lot. YouTube takes like 70% of your revenue anyways, and like you get 30 of it. Just that's how it works. The same thing with TikTok. So bad. It is so bad. But I love doing this stuff, man. I get to meet you guys. We're going to definitely do a true meetup if y'all are down for that this upcoming season. Maybe I'll host like a tailgate. I'll get like a tailgate spot and host it. That would be sick. At the stadium, finding like a tailgate spot. That'd be badass, right? We'll even do a show there at the tailgate spot. That would be sick. All right, keep it real. Ant, what's up? What's up, Clay? Like Clay Thompson. I like that. All right. Panthers Quest. Let's get into this first because we're going to go over the day one recap of the NFL Combine too. Because I watched it last night. I stayed up and watched the whole damn thing. And I was up to like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, going rewatching that. So it's pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. But anyways, so the Carolina Panthers, there's this like draft day dilemma, I feel like, right? Like it's the old dilemma of the daydreams and salary cap nightmares. We find ourselves as a team, right? We're in a bit of a pickle to how we're going to approach this 2024 NFL season. And I know that this organization has been like a kid in a candy store with no allowance, right? So without a first round pick, there's a laundry list of needs here for this team, right? You already lost out on your first overall pick again, which is a tough pill to swallow because of the trade that you made to trade up last year. So the thing that we have to understand and we have to face it is that even a mid-round selection would be a welcome addition to our team, right? Because after all, we know that the first round in the NFL is like the NFL version of the Willy Wonka's golden ticket, right? But it's still a risk, right? It's still a risk at the end of the day. Except in the Willy Wonka faction, we all know is like the chocolate factory. But the first round is definitely to snag those blue chips, those serious talent kind of guys. You know what I mean? So the thing is, should the Panthers attempt to get their way back into that first round? I think absolutely. Because the real question is how do they plan to pull that off, right? Because obviously it's like a daring heist without breaking the bank, right? So they're not exactly swimming in cap space like Scrooge McDuck. You know what I mean? Like there's levels to this shit, right? Like that, the saying, there's levels to this shit. And the fun part here is that you target these players, right? These picks, and you try to get that reasonable compensation out of it, right? So you picture this, right? The Panthers swoop in, snatch up a talented prospect who slipped through the cracks, right? So whether it's a dynamic playmaker or an offense or a lockdown defender on defense, obviously the possibilities are endless in this first round. As for compensation, well, we can get a little creative with it, right? I mean, they could dangle a package, mid-round picks, like a shiny bait to lure a desperate team into trading down. Or they could sweeten the deal with a player or two to sweeten that pot a little bit. And desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't think it's a desperate measure for this team, right? Even though I know I just said that because sometimes it is, but I don't think we're not in that situation right now. Because we are in full rebuild mode and we just got to be patient, right? But the burning question here is, should they make a play to the back into the first round? What do y'all think? Sound off in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts. Because they could hit the jackpot on somebody, right? And turn their fortunes around with some cunning strategy and luck. And after all, stranger things have happened in the wild world of the NFL draft. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think about trading up. Not sure trading up is the best option, but okay. Do I know what mid means? Yeah, it means like average. At least that's what the Gen Z kids are saying. No, I'm just kidding. I've known mid since my era. I've known mid since my era. So, I mean, trading up to get a first round pick is not a bad idea. I think the only way they do it, though, is unless they trade Brian Burns. I mean, of course, they got other guys on this team, right? Other guys that they could trade, like Derek Brown. They could definitely trade him for a first round, but I would not suggest that, obviously, right? I'm a big Derek Brown fan. I'm Derek Brown, Frankie Luvu over Brian Burns. Y'all know that. So many needs. We need to get Bryce, top wide receiver, and tight end, son. Our tight ends are mid, need our Kincaid. Absolutely. I'm all about that, man. I'm actually going to be doing some draft content today. Did we even get a new scout team? That's a good question. I don't even know who's on the scout team anymore. I've already done my top 10 tight ends. Brock Bowers is going to go to LA. All right, let's be honest. He's already had multiple interviews with the LA Chargers. So we're not going to get an LA. We're not going to get like a guy, Brock Bowers, right? And this is to your statement here, Matt Cheddar. We're not going to get a guy like Brock Bowers. We might be able to get a Jatavion Sanders, but you're going to have to get him in the second round. So I think the more realistic options for the Carolina Panthers could be a guy like Cade Stover out of University of Ohio State, the Ohio State University. I'm sorry. You could get a guy like Ben Sinnott. I think that's the Kansas State boy, if I'm not mistaken. Ben Sinnott. I did my scouting report on him the other day. Yeah, Kansas City boy. Kansas State boy. You got Theo Johnson out of Penn State. Dallin Holker. I'm pretty sure he's the Colorado State boy. I just can't remember sometimes. There's so many lists of these guys. Yeah, Colorado State. He did play at BYU, though. Dallin Holker. You got A.J. Barner out of Michigan, and you got Jaheim Bell out of Florida State, which Jaheim Bell is a former Gamecock. So I know a little bit about him. He's very versatile. So you got some guys you can get at the tight end position. I don't know if they would be Kincaid-like, but, Brock Bowers to Davion Sanders are obviously the top two, in my opinion, in the tight end position. After that, I'd probably go Cade Stover, Ben Sinnott, and Theo Johnson in that order. So you could get some tight ends, Matt Chatter, obviously in the third, fourth, fifth round, I think. But again, we have so many needs, right? You know, that it's like it's so unpredictable where the Carolina Panthers are going, what they're going to pick with that second round pick. It's not the best tight end draft class, no. But I think adding some depth there, maybe I think Cade Stover would be a solid pick. If they get Stover, I'd be happy. All right. I think some of these other guys, they're going to be some project tight ends. I think Cade Stover could be possibly a tight end too, like a starting tight end too. I'd like to see him and Tommy Trimble on the field because they both kind of remind me of the same player. I think Tommy Trimble has a lot of upside. Um, I mean, I just think that we need to move on from Hurst. You were going to eat some dead cap off his contract. I get it. But at the same time, when you're 30, going to be 31, I think 30 years old, and you just had a massive concussion, I think it's time to move on from him. I know that it would open up some cap space then, but we would be eating some dead cap later on. But I'd rather rock with Tommy Trimble and a guy like Cade Stover and Steven Sullivan than having Hayden Hurst on the team and we don't get a tight end. You know, as much as I love Hayden Hurst as a Gamecock fan, he's got too many issues coming when it comes to his injuries. So, you know, but guys, be on the lookout today. I am getting my top 10 tight ends in this year's draft class. I'm getting my top offensive tackles in this draft class. And I'm also doing my top 5 guards and top 5 centers together in one short. Because after basically there's 5 centers in this draft that I like and 5 guards I like in this draft. And that's it. Because after those guys go, that's it. And I hope Carolina Panthers snag any of these top 5 guys because we need it. But again, we shall see. I hope they can get 2 of the guards and and some centers. But again, build that offensive lineup. The trenches need to be done. I don't care if the team is only Bryce and a number 1 wide receiver. Get him 1 wide receiver over 6'3". I'm going to tell you right now, there's 1 wide receiver I really, really, really want, and it's a long shot. But I think Rome Aduzier would fit in Carolina. He reminds me of a Mike Evans-esque kind of wide receiver. Big route runner, right? Who can get open, short to medium route, sure, but he can also be that deep threat kind of guy that can go up and get it. I think it would be sick to have Roma Duzier out there with Mingo on the outside, and then you can keep Thielen in the slot. And then you bring in a guy like a Cade Stover at tight end. I would like a combo like that. I think that would be a solid combo. I think that there's versatile enough, right? You got your deep threat guy. You got Mingo, who can be your short to medium route runner. You got your slot guy in Thielen, right, over the middle. And I think, bringing in a Cade Stover who can be a vertical threat / blocker, I think fits the case, the scenario here. It's the same thing with the guards, Josh. There's really because like my top. All right, so here, my top 5 centers in this draft is Jackson Powers Johnson, Zach Frazier, Cedric Van Pran, So Jackson Powers Johnson's out of Oregon, if you didn't know. Zach Frazier's out of West Virginia. Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia. Bogues Limmer, who's out of Arkansas. And Delmar Glaze, who's out of, I think he's Maryland. I can't remember. It's Maryland or it's God, I'm having some. It's got to be Maryland, I think. No, it's not Maryland. Is it Maryland? Or is it Minnesota? Yeah, Maryland. Okay, Maryland. So I was right about that. And then it's the same thing with the guards, though, guys. You basically have top five. There's 5 guards in this draft class that are good. You got Christian Haynes, who's a right guard out of Connecticut. You got Cooper Beebe out of Kansas City State, who's a left guard. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College, right guard. Zach Zenter out of Michigan, right guard. And then you got Trevor Keegan, who's also a what is he? Is he left guard out of Michigan? But Michigan had some boys on that offensive line. I'll tell you that. Michigan had some boys. So I'll be getting those out to you today. I'll also be getting out my thoughts on Spencer Rattler as a dark horse in this year's quarterback draft class, how I think he's going to benefit from the combine. So I'll have that coming out today as well. And then I'm going to have a funny content coming out about the NCAA 2025 or 2024 football game that's coming out. Or NCAA 25, I think is what it is, whatever. Which I am going to pre-order. I think you can pre-order it now. I don't know. Definitely will be watching the NFL Combine today. Dear Mingo, please get even better. Yeah, I mean, there's the only thing is up from here. And I think tell me this is a bad wide receiver room, okay? You got your wide receiver 1. So here's the thing. My ideal lineup for this team would to go get a guy like Roman Duzier. I think he would be great. I think also Xavier Legette. I think if Xavier Legette balls out today in this NFL Combine, his draft stock is going to shoot through the roof, and he won't even make it past the second round, make it through the first. He will be drafted in the first round. If he runs a 4.29 that he's done in the past, and he balls out, I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised if Xavier Legette gets his draft stock turned around. Legette's 6'2". He what? They list him as 6'4", but he's 6'2". Panther Raider X, what's up? What's up? He's 6'2". Our RBs are boring. Yeah, I know. We need to get a guy in there. We need to get another guy in there for sure. All right, let's move on. So this is basically my takeaways from basically the press conference that our GM, Dan Morgan and Dave Canales had to say. And I'm gonna harp on this for a little bit because holy crap, we got 16 likes already. Wow, y'all guys are already killing it. Let's keep it going. Let's double it up. We're at 16. Let's get to 32. Let's get to 32 likes. We're at 16 likes. Let's double it. Let's get to 32 likes. So I'm finally got caught up with all the press conferences and stuff like that. And there were some takeaways I got from this. Obviously, the first thing I took away from the press conferences were Brian Burns' future is in the air. I'm gonna harp on that a little bit more after this. The question is obviously, will he stay or will he go? That is the burning question surrounding Brian Burns, right? So obviously Morgan did hint in his press conference at the possibility of franchise tagging on the Burns with free agency obviously looming, but I don't rule out a potential trade if they can't lock him down long term, right? Obviously, then the next thing I took away from that press conference was Frankie Louvu and Derek Brown are obviously on the Panthers' radar. It's not just about Burns. It's obviously we are keen to keeping any of these defensive stars in the fold, right? You got Louvu and Brown are in line for potential contract extensions. We all know that. So Morgan is singing that praise of these guys and hinting that there are ongoing negotiations. The biggest secret weapon to any of these contract negotiations, and there is one secret weapon that no one is talking about, and that is Brant Tillis. Brant Tillis is the secret weapon to the Carolina Panthers. What that guy was able to do in Kansas City, how he was able to re-sign players, even and bring in players, even with that big contract of Patrick Mahomes. You know? So, look, keep in mind about that man. Brant Tillis is a bad dude. He knows what he's doing. And he knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl and how to win a Super Bowl. So don't be surprised, guys. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I really wouldn't. I would not be surprised if that changes. So, yeah, I don't understand what he said either. Eagles release Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard. Ugh. Safety. He's a safety. We don't need him. He's 30 years old. Panther Raider X. We don't need him. We need to re-sign Jeremy Chin is what we need to do. We need to either restructure Von Bell's contract or trade him for draft capital. And put Chin back in his rightful position. Because I guarantee you, because there's other Panther content creators that believe that Chin is what he is. But he had a sensational rookie year. Nobody talks about that in that position that Von Bell's in. And balled out. And it's like, oh, well, he just doesn't fit in the Evero's scheme. No, he fits in Evero's scheme. He just doesn't fit in the nickel or the linebacker spot. He's not a linebacker. And I hate that. I know. I don't understand this whole thing about Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin balled out at his first season. Absolutely balled out. He had a Pro Bowl year. He almost made the Pro Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, or he did. Or he was even in the defensive player. I don't think he made the Pro Bowl, but I think he was definitely in that conversation. But he definitely, for a guy you got in the third round coming out of a really, really small school, I'm just saying, man, I think they're wasting his talent away, and what they're doing. So, back to the other takeaways. Chuba Hubbard is the man at running back. I'm going to talk more about that here shortly too. Diver deep. Obviously, Miles Sanders had a shitty season, and it's obviously Hubbard's locker room. He's the leader in the running back room. So there's no question about that. And it sounds like Hubbard's going to be the guy to be carrying the load again, unless Miles Sanders somehow turns his ass around. Yeah, even when he was healthy, he didn't play much. It just doesn't make sense to me. And everybody keeps saying, well, Snow and Phil Snow and somebody else, I can't remember who the other coach they always mentioned, but was like, yeah, they knew it too. He wasn't the guy. Well, how can you say that? Did it come out of their mouths? Like, how do you know that? Is there reports? Is that just your analysis? Make it make sense. Y'all know how I am. Make it make sense. If you don't like the guy, just say you don't like the guy. Just say the same thing that I always say. Be honest with yourself and say, hey, like same thing with Brian Burns. Do I think he's great? Yes. Do I think he's elite? No. But I think Jeremy Chin is a very good player and who is very versatile, and we're wasting his talent here. So if that's the case, then that's fine. Move. Let's move on from him. But at the same time, I think that we have a better chance with a younger guy back there for our future, especially doing a full rebuild and then keeping a guy like Von Bell. That's just my opinion. I think Jeremy Chin would be I guarantee you'd see a different Jeremy Chin on the field if he was in his position, if he was in the rightful position. Again, Styles wins fights. Schemes fit certain players in the NFL. Schemes that fit the players win football games. It's a mystery that has yet to be solved, Josh. It's a mystery that is yet to be solved. Okay, another takeaway I took from this press conference was that Icky yeah, I heard about that. So stupid. So dumb. So dumb. You know what's so crazy about that whole report card thing? David Tepper got a D- as an owner, and that whole thing about our facilities and all that stuff. Yeah, the facilities are fine, but you know what else is crazy? We're paying these players millions of dollars, and then of course, but the nutrition factor has been shit because the players have to pay for the food there. You know what the most important thing for your players is? Nutrition. You know why? So they don't eat like shit. So then it doesn't affect their performance. It's the same thing it's the best way I put it like this. I've always been told as an athlete myself, I was a college athlete, wasn't a football player, college athlete, former college athlete. Nutrition is 80% of the game. %. So if your food is, if you're not eating, you can't go and work out and then go think you're going to go eat McDonald's and do what Ocho Cinco does. Ocho Cinco's is just a different breed, man. I'm not mad about Icky getting to keep his position. Actually, I was just about to start talking about that some more because Icky's not going anywhere. Obviously, despite his struggles at left tackle, I'm going to dive deep into that topic as well. Here shortly, but these are just my takeaways from the press conference, like I said. So he's set to remain in that left tackle position for the upcoming season. Morgan believes in his potential, so he's banking on that to him to improve with the right coaching staff, and which could be the case. Again, there's a lot of debates here with some of the takeaways I took from this. 33rd overall pick is a wild card. The Panthers aren't holding themselves into a specific draft strategy, it sounds like. They keep their options open at 33rd pick, whether they're adding impact players or building depth. Then Bryce Young, which we're going to talk about more here. Bryce Young is far from broken. Despite a rocky rookie season, Canales isn't hitting the panic button on Young with a focus on building a solid offense around him. And the Panthers are confident in his ability to bounce back. Evero's retention is a big win, which I'm going to talk more about that, dive deep into that. And then, of course, establishing the run is a top priority, apparently. So, which I wasn't suspecting that. I thought maybe, they would try to go more on the passing route, but maybe they want to take the obviously the pressure off of Bryce to open up the pass, which I wouldn't be mad about that either way. So, wouldn't be mad about that. I'm actually glad to hear that they think that the run game is actually top priority. It should be when you basically still have a rookie quarterback. But I'm glad this shit's coming out, to be honest. Maybe Tepper's embarrassed and upgrade. Yeah. He's trying to move the practice facility. Why that is, I don't know. And then he's up his prices in the tickets, which makes no fucking sense to me whatsoever. You went from 2 and 15, you're just like, let's put a 4% increase on these tickets. Let's really hit him where it hurts. You know what's going to really hit it where it hurts, David Tepper, is if this team does not show up at least and win 6 games this year, you are going to be hurting. You're going to be hurting in profit, just so you know. So you can take that 4% increase of tickets and shove it up your ass. And no, respectfully at the end of that. Vietnam, what's up? He has such a high. he was such a high pick that they kind of have to see, in my opinion. Yeah, I know. I know. I heard that Chin, D-Jack, TMJ on the way out. I mean, Vietnam, here's the thing. If they can get some draft capital out of these guys, you know what I mean? Then so be it. So be it. I'm fine with that. I've heard that TMJ might end up going to the Bills, which kind of makes sense because of, who's over there as the offensive coordinator? Joe Brady. D-Jack probably will end up either being in, I guarantee you, he'll either be in Washington. If this is the case now, Vietnam, if this is the case, D-Jack will either be in Washington or LA with the Chargers. And I think Team J will be in the Bills. I think that's the only place he goes. And Chen will either be in Miami or the Eagles. One of those two. That's just what I think. If that is the case, like what you're hearing, and if that comes to fruition, that is the case. I know. TMJ can go, in my opinion. He wants out anyways. He don't want to be here. He requested a trade during the regular season last year. He don't want to be here. So let him go. I mean, you could probably get a 7th round pick for him. I'm watching NFL training camp highlights. Matt Corral versus AJ McCarron. How does Matt Corral look, Matt Chatter? How does Matt Corral look? I'm curious. I'm rooting for the kid, man. I'd love to see him go out there and ball out. Anywhere but here. Get those picks up, Morgan. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, D-Jack and Chen. Chen, you probably could get a 3rd round pick for. Maybe or I would say the max is 4th, low end 5. D-Jack, you're only going to get a 5th round pick. TMJ, you're only going to get like a 7th. Under 6'4", please see the door wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, I like the only people. The problem is, Matt Chatter, there's not a lot of guys that have that height in this draft. Like if we look at the top, even if you look at the top 10 top wide receivers, right? Even the top 10 wide receivers in this draft class, they're not going to find a lot of guys with that 6'4" height. I mean, Roma Duzier is not even 6'4". He's 6'3". Marvin Harrison's 6'3". Brian Thomas is 6'4". Troy Frank is 6'3". Adonian Mitchell 6'4". Keon Coleman 6'4". See who else. Yeah, you're not really going to find a lot of 6'4" guys. Xavier Leggette's 6'1". I thought they listed him at 6'2", but either way, still a big-time playmaker. He's 6'1", 230, though. It's a big boy. Guys, we're at 16 likes. Love to get this to double it to 32 likes, so make sure you pound that like button. We're going to be on here for a hot minute. So, guys, we're going to be on here for a hot minute. Make sure you pound that like button. We're at 16 likes. Love to double that to 32. Greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it. We got a lot. We're talking about a lot of draft stock. We're going to go over yesterday, day 1 draft is our combine yesterday. Predictions: Chin to Philly for a 5th. I would take it. I guess I would take it. Damn, my 5-year-old son just walked up and looked at the screen and asked, "Did the Panthers lose, Dad?" So I laughed and said, "Yeah." And then he said, "They're suckers, Dad." Damn, Marcos. Damn. That's rough. Like, it's funny, but when your son knows, and I don't know how old, okay, 5-year-old, and he's 5 years old, and he knows that, it's tough. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow if I was a dad, a boy dad. 6'4" or more wide receivers gives me nightmares. Kelvin Benjamin bum. Under 6'3", you're not for me. I think that we need a big physical, deep threat kind of guy. I think, but like, here's the thing. The reason why I like a guy like Leggett, he can kind of do it all because of his speed, right? He's 6'1", 230, so he's a big, broader wide receiver, but he's got 4.2 speed. I guarantee you, if Xavier Leggett balls out today that combine, he will not make it past the first round or past the he won't make it past the first round. He will be in the first. He will be a first round pick because he's a physical specimen if you look at him. Like, if you look at Xavier Leggett, he's a physical specimen. I think Xavier Leggett, it's a lot of people that are sleeping on. I think that Xavier Leggett would be a guy that we could go after, a wide receiver. I think he's a guy we definitely could get. I don't think we're getting any of the top 5 wide receivers. Maybe even because I think Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin are all going in the first round. They will not be there in the second round. You might, Lad Monkey might go in the first round for all I know, but I don't see that. I think Adoniram Mitchell could be a first rounder, a potential first rounder, but he might fall because he is 6'4". He's got a 4.5, which kind of worries me a little bit. Keon Coleman, 6'4", 4.5, 4.4. Could be a guy that we could go after there. It just depends, man. I think that some of these guys, man, their draft stocks could either make them or break them in these combines. So we'll see how it falls out. That's why the combine's so great. I love that I get that some of these players are doing it, but I know, Josh, you don't like him because you think he's got separation issues. That's fine. But guess what? He really doesn't. Yes, there is times that he gets locked up. Sure, he has gotten locked up. What wide receiver doesn't get locked up? DK Metcalf gets locked up, which a lot of people have said Leggett reminds him of DK Metcalf. But what does DK Metcalf do best? He's a guy that can go up and get the ball. He's a physical wide receiver. He's a physical threat. That is what you're looking for. Again, if it was a dream scenario for the Carolina Panthers to get a wide receiver, I want Rome Odunze. That's who I really like. I like Rome Odunze the best because he's 6'4". Again, he's 6'4", runs a 4.3 40. All draft all B's. Mingo be like Mingo BTO. Then he get here and you're gonna stop dropping the wrong ground. Trade down if it means good wide receivers. This is something I know, Josh. I know you don't like him. And hey, we disagreed with the whole Malik Washington thing. And I actually went and rewatched some of his highlights. And I see what you were saying about him. The problem with him, though, is the only thing I have a problem with Malik Washington, Josh, is that he's 5'8". That's the only downside to me for him. I think the guy can do everything, but if you want to bring a Malik Washington in, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but I need to replace somebody else on the outside because Thielen's already taken the slot position. That's where I think Malik Washington would flourish, like a Zay Flowers type of ordeal. I just don't know with that 5'8" size that he's going to be there. You know, I do like him though. I rewatched his highlight tapes after our conversation on that. So I do like him a little bit better now. I still think I got Leggett higher than him. I actually only have Malik Washington 2 spots below Leggett. So he's not far away from Leggett, Josh. If things were jacked, yeah, I mean, and listen, Josh, we're talking about realistic here. You know what I mean, though? We can't think that we're going to get any of those top 5 guys. I think the most realistic guy that we can get at that second over, and then we're talking about a guy who really could potentially go in the first round. I think the most I think the best guy we're going to be able to get possibly at the wide receiver position with that 33rd pick is probably going to be Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. If he falls. If not, then you're looking at either Ladd Monken or Keon Coleman. So, but again, a lot of things can change from this draft because of the combine. So things can change quickly. I just don't. I like the wide receiver from Florida, Kavion something. Florida State. You mean Keon Coleman, Vietnam? Keon Coleman? Or it's either Keon Coleman or what's that boy's name? What's the other Florida State? Johnny Wilson. It's either Johnny Wilson or Keon Coleman that you're talking about. I would rather have Franklin or Monken. I'd take Leggett over Monken, but Franklin probably not. I'd probably take Franklin over Leggett. But Leggett's not. I mean, Franklin's not. He's going to be he's a first round pick. He's a first round pick. He's a lock there. He's a lock in the first round. Again, we will see between the pro days and the NFL Combine. These draft boards and all that stuff can change. PFF's is going to change theirs. I guarantee you. After all this, whoever you get your analyst from, I've made my own just for research purposes. So again, we shall see. We shall see. All right, let's move on. We got some more topics to talk about here. So I really want to dive more deep into this whole situation with Ike Ekwonu, because it is a bit of a gamble when you're taking a guy and keeping him at the left tackle, but it's also a gamble when you moving him to another position at left guard, right? We've been talking about that. Right? Whether it's a good idea to keep him at left tackle or whether it's a good idea to keep him at or move him to left guard. So I'm going to double down on this situation, right? Because we know that this past season was absolutely atrocious. Over double digits, allowed double-digit sacks and over 40 plus pressures. Okay. Now, whether that's on Icky or whether that's on the offensive scheme, still at the same time, I know that schemes matter, but you also have a job at the end of the day. You have a job to block for your quarterback, especially the blind side, right? So Dan Morgan comes out and says, well, we're going to keep him there because he clarified that in that recent press conference, right? That was from the takeaways that we were just talking about. So he's going to remain there at left tackle. And we all know that Ike Ekwonu struggles against speedy pass rushers. I think it's a bold move, but the thing is with Morgan is that he seems optimistic about this whole potential under this whole new coaching staff, which could be the case. But the problem here is that for me that I'm having is that sophomore slump was as real as it gets. Again, he was on the field for a hefty over 1,100 snaps, and he couldn't figure it out. Couldn't find his groove. He allowed over 11 sacks, and landed a middle of the road PFF grade. Okay, so is it the fact that his inability to handle speed off the edge was glaring? But it wasn't. But nobody's perfect, right? It's obviously he can't handle the speed. But here's the twist of fate of everything. Ekwonu may need more than footwork to keep up with the Usain Bolt of pass rushers, okay? Because he is a force to be reckoned with, especially when it comes to the run game. Now, picture this. Think about it this way. You got a bulldozer, right? That's your left tackle. Disguised as a left tackle. Plowing through defenders, opening lanes for the running back. It's a thing of beauty when it works, right? So why not kick Icky inside to the inside guard, right? Why not move him over to the left guard, right? Where his power and strength could be used better. That's what the armchair quarterbacks have been saying. But the Panthers brass isn't buying it. That's the thing. They're sticking to their guns, hoping that this guy is going to turn those flashes of brilliance into inconsistencies. Or not inconsistencies, sorry. Into consistent performances. Sorry. Good Lord. So you got a quarterback in Bryce Young who got sacked left and right, right? The Panthers cannot afford to play musical chairs with this offensive line anymore. Okay, they need stability. And even if it means riding out the bumps in the road of Quando. So I say there is hope here for Aquanu if he can shake off those sophomore jitters and become the left tackle that the Panthers envisioned him to be when they drafted him. And if not, well, there's always next season, right? But again, that's an issue. I don't like it, but it is what it is. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. Again, keeping him there. So what are we talking about here? I hope we find our Justin Jefferson. I would love that too. I mean, we do great. I would let Icky play left guard, let Christian play left tackle. I mean, we really don't need a left guard because Christian's done a very good job there. I mean, he can play left tackle, so I would be open to that. But there are some guys in this draft that I've been scouting out that I would love to get on this offensive line. Kyrito's back. What's up? Yeah, I heard about it. I made a funny meme video about it. Nah, Marco, those lames were too weak to knock it off. Cam was like a drunken master, never spilling his cup. Who be Roman Wilson? So Roman Wilson is the wide receiver for Michigan, but he's only 5'10", but runs a 4.29. Very good wide receiver. You saw him ball out in the national championship. He was the one who was making all those contested catches and the big plays for J.J. McCarthy. So I like Roman Wilson a lot. Yeah, he would be a great option. So here are the things I want to talk about too, because I know that off that takeaways from the combine interview from Morgan and Canales. Another thing was obviously when I said it, was the Brian Burns situation. So y'all know how I feel about it. I don't think Burns is worth $30 million. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think he's worth $30 million. That's what he wants. He's not worth it. And obviously we can move on from this guy. There's no problem in that aspect of things. You can move on from him. There is multiple ways that we can go about it with this whole situation. You know what I mean? Crap. But again, let me see what that looks like now. Is that better? Sorry, I'm editing my thing here. Trying to fix this thing. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, and then we want this as far as it goes. How far does this go? That's good there. Okay, that's good there. Save that. Better. That's better. All right, sorry. So again, let me get back to what I was saying. Sorry, I got off topic there. I was trying to fix my screen on me. So obviously, there's this delicate dance of franchise tag, a game of financial chess that we have to play in this situation. All right, this is a high stakes game. It's a high stakes move. However you want to calculate it, it is what it is. But as the Panthers weigh their options here with the pass rushing phenom Brian Burns, let's break down the possibilities of how they can do this. So first things first, you got the inclusive transition tag, right? What does that mean? Well, basically it means this. The Panthers slap this tag on Burns, right? Give him a one-way ticket to the free agency town. Sure, it's cheaper than the traditional franchise tag, but it's like playing Russian roulette with your cap space. So if another team swoops in with a fat contract offer, guess what that means? The Panthers are having to figure out to either match or risk losing Burns for nothing. So that's a risky move. All right. It's like trying to pull off a heist with a pair of chopsticks. Just not going to happen. Conversely, we have the exclusive. That was the elusive tag. The exclusive tag is that there's the golden handcuffs of the NFL contracts. So with this bad boy, Burns is locked into a hefty $24 million payday, and he can't even entertain the idea of playing for another team. So it's like being traded in a gilded cage and forced between a lucrative one-year deal or a season spent twiddling his thumbs on the sideline. Then there's the non-exclusive franchise tag, the Goldilocks of options of franchise tags. It's not too expensive. It's not too restrictive, but just right, which means Burns can test the waters of free agency, but the Panthers have the nuclear option, making any contract offer or snagging 2 first-round picks if he walks. It's like having your cake and eating it too, right? Assuming it's worth $24 million and comes with draft picks. But wait, there's more. Then there's the franchise tag isn't just a one and done deal. All right, so here's how it works. It's like it's a bargaining chip. Okay, it's a high stakes game of contract negotiations here. Okay, so the Panthers could dangle Burns into a shiny and lure him in with some enticing other teams with the promise of pass rusher powerhouse, or they could hammer out a long-term deal behind closed doors with Burns reaping the benefits of the financial insecurity and job satisfaction. So the clock is ticking for this team. The Panthers must make a move. So this is the biggest thing right now because we are in March now. It's March 1st. They have to make a move before the franchise tag deadline on March 5th. So I just wanted to explain that to you guys. Okay. I hope he stays. This has been a crazy situation. Yeah, I know. Clay, I let him go. You know, you're going to be a GM. We'll sign it for $30 million. That GM be like Patrick Starr did holding the hammer with the wood plank on his forehead. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a tag or trade ordeal. I really do. I really do. I think it's going to be a tag or trade ordeal. I've been calling it for how long. I think it's smart for them to tag him and just trade him and get your draft picks. Now, of course, if we could do, which I would love to do, obviously it's getting your cake and eat it too, but that non-exclusive franchise tag obviously would be the most ideal situation, but that doesn't happen very often. That doesn't happen very often. So, you know, at the end of the day, guys, make sure you pound that like button. We're at 19 likes. Love to double that to 30. I love to get to 40 likes. So make sure you pound that like button. Make sure you pound the like button. So make sure you pound that like button, guys. We're at 19 likes. 19 likes. And if you're watching on TikTok or Facebook, come on over to the YouTube channel. Make sure you come and like and subscribe as well. If you're watching on Twitter and Facebook, come on over. All right. Come on over. The more the merrier. All right. The Panthers running back situation. Let's talk about that. Because these are all the topics they basically brought up at the combine. I just wanted to do a diver deep into that. Obviously, the question here is that the Panthers is the one of the questionable positions on the team is the running back room. Now, the question here is to you guys, and you can sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. But is Chuba Hubbard the real deal Holyfield in this running back room? Right? Because if you peel back the layers just a bit, because of this whole gridiron onion and get that juicy core of the matter, right? First off, let's give credit where credit is due. Hubbard's play in 2023 was like finding a diamond in the rough. In that running back room. Okay. But after 2 lukewarm seasons, he's finally kind of hit that stride, right? All right. He's finally hit that stride. Sure, his yards per carry may not scream, MVP, Christian McCaffrey, CMC, but let's not forget that the hand he was dealt. Okay. The offensive line resembling more holes than Swiss cheese. Defense is stacking the box like a game of football Jenga. Hubbard faces more obstacles than a player in a Madden challenge mode. Okay. Despite the uphill battle, Hubbard still managed to churn out over 1,100 yards from scrimmage, something like that, earning him the title of the league's quietest offensive player. And Pro Football Focus gave him a respectable nod, ranking him 16th among running backs, a feat that akens to earning a Michelin star in the culinary world of football. But wait, there's more. The cap hit of just $1.2 million in 2024. So Hubbard is the bargain bin steal of the century, really, because if the Panthers offensive line could muster up some kind of protection, right, he could easily eclipse, I think, 1,000 yards. And the thing is that with that mark of 1,000 yards, you don't break the bank with him. Okay, so here comes but here's the $1 million question here: will Miles Sanders have that comeback? Will he triumph a comeback in 2024? Will we see the Miles Sanders that we saw in Philadelphia? That is the question, because he had a lackluster debut in Charlotte. And to me, Sanders is here to stay, whether you like it or not, right? Because with that hefty contract and a dead cap hit that could sink us like a battleship, the Panthers are essentially married to Sanders for at least another year. So here's the thing. Fear not, for hope springs eternal in the heart of a football fan. The arrival of new head coach Dave Canales. Obviously, there's a lot of optimism in the air, and there's optimism that Sanders could return to this Pro Bowl form. After all, if Canales can work his magic, relative unknown like Rachaad White, imagine what he could do with a former Pro Bowler like Miles Sanders. Toxic Black, what's up? What's up? So let's not forget about the little guy, literally. Tyreek Cohen may be a pint-sized, but his heart is as big as a touchdown celebration, despite a laundry list of injuries. That would make a hospital wing jealous. Cohen's North Carolina roots, dynamic playmaking ability, make him a fan favorite. So I hope he can shake off the injury bug and make a triumphant return to the field as well. So, in conclusion to all of this, is Chuba Hubbard good? I think You bet your sweet touchdown ass he is. I think he's good. And I think Sanders and Cohen are in the waiting room, right? And the running back stability is prime for success in this coming season because they did mention and they hinted it basically at that press conference that they are going to ride on the running back room this season. They are going to try to run the ball more and you know why they're doing that? They're going to try to run the ball more because they want to open up the pass to take the pressure off your basically rookie quarterback, Bryce Young. That's their game plan here. Do I think that this running back room could use another running back because I don't trust Miles Sanders, Tyreek Cohen, and Chuba Hubbard? You bet your sweet ass I don't trust them. Do I think Chuba Hubbard's good? Yes. Do I think he's a true number one? I don't know yet. I think he's good. I think he's a very good running back. I would take him over Miles Sanders right now. I think anybody else in this chat would just say the same thing. But I can tell you right now, I do think that we need a powerhouse running back. We need a guy like a Jamal Williams who can just pound it in there, or AJ Dillon, or bring back Deontay Foreman if you can. You need Zach Moss. You need a powerhouse guy. Chuba has the power, but he's a little bit more elusive. Obviously, he stepped it up in the passing game because that was the biggest thing that a lot of Panthers fans didn't like about him. A lot of people didn't like Chuba Hubbard because they didn't think he could catch, be a pass catching back, but he proved us wrong there this past season. 20 people watching. Make sure you pound the like button as you're coming in or as you're leaving. We're at 21 likes. Love to double that. Let's get it to 42. Let's get it to 42 likes. Appreciate y'all. It's good to be back. Wasn't like I ever really left. I just had to go to a work conference. So that was fun. Okay. On to the next topic. Do I have the rest of my sheets in here? All right, perfect. All right. Derrick Henry, Kyrito, I think his contract would just be too much. So, hey, Mad Chatter, I asked you a question earlier. You said you were watching the Matt Corral versus AJ McCarron highlights or something, like training camp or something. How does Matt Corral look? I'm curious over there. I'm curious. All right, building a dominant defense. Okay, we know that this defense is only going to get better. Okay, especially you bring back your secret weapon and your defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero. And there's always room for improvement, though, right? So let's talk about this real quick. First off, let's talk about allowing Brian Burns to eat. Let's say Brian Burns stays. Okay, let's say we get this whole thing worked out, right? Brian Burns stays. No, we're not talking about a five. Let's just put this in a scenario. Okay, Brian Burns stays. You let Brian Burns eat, right? And I'm not talking about like a 5-star reservation, okay, at a restaurant. We're talking about allowing Burns to get let loose on opposing quarterbacks, okay? But here's the catch. Even though I know that I've come on here and said that I think he's going to get tagged and traded, I'm putting this in a story format here, okay? This is a fantasy world, but it can be a realistic world too. I mean, we could see Brian Burns still here next year, okay? And I think he is good, guys. Don't get me wrong. I know I don't think he's a top 10 guy. I think he's top 15, but I don't think he's top 10, but that's just neither here nor there. But here's the catch with the whole thing here is the Panthers must be willing to lead games so Burns can feast. What that means is that they got to score points. They got to be able to play offensive ball. So last season, that became the first team in the NFL history not to hold a fourth quarter lead all season. Right? So it's up to Canales and the offense to give Burns and his and this defense some opportunities to get after the quarterback. And another thing about, speaking of pass rushers, the Panthers could use another edge rusher to take some pressure off of Burns, right? Sure, the pressure rating 2023 was pretty low, as some of you may not know. But adding another dynamic edge rusher could turn up, obviously, the heat on opposing offenses, right? Bringing someone in to help him out. Whether through free agency or the draft, the Panthers need to beef up that pass rush to keep opposing quarterbacks on their toes. But it's not all about the defense. You know, obviously, let's talk about locking up Frankie Louvu, right? We were just talking about that. The guy plays with more energy than a caffeine-fueled toddler at a bouncy house party, right? That's what that guy is. That's who Frankie Louvu is. The Panthers need to keep that energy in Charlotte, though, because Louvu's price tag is steadily rising as time goes on. Okay, so you got to pay and secure him for the long haul. But let's not forget about Derek Brown. This guy's a freaking man amongst boys. He's a wrecking ball in the trenches. You got to lock him up for a long-term deal. That's obviously a no-brainer, in my opinion. With negotiations already underway, it's clear the Panthers recognize Brown's value and they'd be wise to keep him happy for years. Of course, a healthy Shaq Thompson probably wouldn't hurt, right? Even though he's sucked this franchise dry, in my opinion. I don't think he's that great, but he definitely does help. I think he's a middle linebacker. He's a good leader on the defense. Is he as talented as Thomas Davis or Luke Kuechly? I don't think so. But Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis helped him out, continue to stay here in Carolina. But the guy's been here for years. So getting him back on the field, I think full strength definitely would be beneficial. But like I said, because of his leadership and his experience, and he's valuable to this locker room. Okay, I have to be fair in that aspect of things. But another thing, last but not least on this defense that we have to do is that we got to get some key players. Hitting the free agent market's going to be key. Decisions need to be made on others, and the Panthers need to shore up their defensive backfield, and whether they retaining key pieces or making savvy moves in the free agency, I think Canales and Morgan have to work this out. And they've got their work cut out for them in this situation. So I think that's the best way to have a dominant defense again for the Carolina Panthers. Trying to get y'all's comment. Matt Corral, long-winded, long wind-up like Tim Tebow. Oh, no. Leonard Fournette, I would pass on him. I think he's done. I think he's had his time. Well, let's hope he can do good. Let's hope he can do good. Louisville only D guy would pay. Trade Brown. No, that's crazy. Not trade Brown. That's a blasphemous remark there, Matt Chatter. I would love to see Chris Jenkins next to Derek Brown. Chris Jenkins out of Michigan is an absolute stud. But that Braden Fisk, who we're going to talk about here shortly, that Braden Fisk, that defensive tackle out of Florida State, that dude's going to be a problem. Did y'all see that guy? That dude is going to be an absolute problem. Y'all can't tell me y'all didn't see that highlight from yesterday. Y'all cannot tell me y'all didn't see his highlight yesterday. Brandon Fisk. So let's talk about this, because this was another takeaway from Dave Canales' from that press conference. Can Dave Canales really transform Bryce Young into that franchise QB? Clay, did you see our O-line? If we don't get help, Young will be. Oh, I know that. I'm just saying. Listen, Matt Chatter, we're not going to fix this offensive line or every position in just one offseason. Again, this is a full rebuild. It's going to take 2 to 3 years. I understand. I want to build within the trenches. Okay, I'm all for that. But you also need to build within the trenches on the defensive side too, because we couldn't stop the run to save our ass last year. And guess what happened when we couldn't stop the run? Guess what happened to our corners and our defensive backs? They were getting freaking cooked up because we were able to take the pressure off the quarterback because we couldn't stop the run to save our life. And, just like in the Seattle game, just like in the Detroit game, Miami game. I mean, we go back and watch all the games we lost 100% most of the time. I'm not signing Cole Beasley. The dude's like 36. He's on his way out the league anyways. So can Dave Canales transform the Bryce Young into the quarterback? A franchise quarterback everybody's been wanting. Okay. Because obviously we got content creators, we got fans, we've got all these people who are just one side. I would say one side of the Carolina Panthers fan space are, of course, don't believe in Bryce, don't think he's a franchise guy, don't believe in him. Okay. But then you got the other side who believes in Bryce 100%. Then you got guys like me who is more realistic and kind of just stays in the middle and says, well, the situation was awful that he came into. The roster was not well equipped. The coaching staff was shit. The meddling owner, GM, who couldn't bring in or evaluate talent adequately. More ears or more voices in his ear than Randy Orton. So more voices in his head than Randy Orton. Then you also have an offensive line that represented with Swiss cheese. You got the Hunger Games. You got coaches texting the owner. Frank Wright's not willing to work on his footwork, not willing to change the playbook. You got snitches. You got rats, whatever you want to call it. Okay? But does Bryce have things to work on? Sure. He has to work on his footwork. He's got to work on his under gun footwork. He's got to work under single back set footwork. He's got to work on his footwork. He's got to learn how to step into his throws, plant his feet and throw. When he did do that, he made great plays. But when he didn't do that, not so much. Deep ball accuracy is another issue. Right? So I'm 50-50 on the kid. There was some brilliance there, right? There was some brilliance there, but there was also not so much. Okay? A lot of people bash him for his size, right? I get that. Okay? But we've seen short quarterbacks pan out in the NFL. Drew Brees, for example. Okay? So here's the thing. You got a new head honcho. You got Dave Canales, who's ready to roll up his sleeves for this guy and try to fix this task, I guess, of Bryce Young. So can he pull off this whole thing of transforming Bryce into that franchise quarterback that we've been desperately wanting and needing, right? So Canales basically was saying he isn't going to waste any time to get to know Bryce Young. He's been chatting up with Young multiple times a week since taking the reins, even if they're mainly limited to non-football topics. I think a little friendly banter never hurts anyone. But don't be fooled. I think Canales is trying to lay the groundwork into a strong relationships that will pay dividends down the line, right? When this next season begins. And speaking of work, Canales isn't just twiddling his thumbs here, right? He's just not sitting here, right, waiting for OTAs to roll around. He's been busy scheming with the quarterback's coach, Will Harriger. I can't pronounce his name. Obviously, to come up with this whole master plan of building the redemption arc for Bryce Young. Young's footwork, like I said, may need some tune-up, but Canales isn't sweating it. He's about building the offense around Young's strengths, like his accuracy, his football IQ. It's like designing, you getting a custom-made tailored suits. That's what it's like. But you fit it for your quarterback prodigy, right? But here's where Canales starts to flex his coaching muscles a bit when he was talking about this, and that's the stopwatch. That's right. Canales is bringing in the big guns with a coach dedicated to timing how quickly Young gets rid of the ball. Okay? It's a race against time. So with Bryce Young's arm as this stopwatch nemesis, right? Canales has even set more lofty benchmarks. 2.7 seconds for checkdowns, 3.4 seconds for downfield throws, 4.2 seconds for those slow developing play action passes. Obviously, the guy knows what he's talking about. He's all math and science here a little bit too. So talk about that precision timing here, which I like to hear that from a guy. So he obviously knows what he's talking about. Okay. But the big task here is obviously the protecting Bryce, giving him the time to be able to have those 2.7 seconds to check down, 3.4 seconds to downfield throws, 4.2 seconds for those developing play actions pass. Because I remember when we played Dallas, and you know who was getting in the backfield in 1.9 seconds? His name was Micah Parsons. Just remember that. I looked it up. It only took him 1 point. He got into our backfield 1.9 seconds out of 8 out of 10 times in that game. So let's remember, Ike Ekwonu, the man who is the guy who protecting Bryce Young's blind side. Canales is also keeping him on a tight leash, right? Preaching the gospel of timeliness and rhythmic ball distribution. So it's all about creating this well-oiled machine where everything just kind of goes together and it just rolls and it executes flawlessly, right? So if Canales has his way, Young will sling the touchdowns, okay? Of course, Canales knows it's going to take more than footwork drills and a stopwatch shenanigans to turn things around for this kid. The Panthers need some serious firepower in the passing game, right? Adding to the offensive line, talent, and depth. Of course, the wide receiver room. But Canales isn't shy about admitting it, right? So with a little of extra cash in their pocket, courtesy of the salary cap, Canales is eyeing some big-name receivers, right? A little hurt never hurt anyone. Okay? So, again, this is the only situation that I can say to this whole thing. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Okay? I'm not going to say that he can turn Bryce Young around into a franchise guy, but only time will tell. Between the scheme, bringing in some wide receiver talent, building that offensive lineup, building on that running back room, if they can do that and take some pressure off of Bryce, then you possibly can. But he needs help. Again, he needs help. And it's just a fact of life. It's just a fact of life. Okay. Which means we need wide receivers with good separation for Bryce to get the ball out faster. Depends on the play, though. I mean, we can't have guys who just are separation artists. That's why you have to have. I feel like you need a guy. It's like this. I feel like you need a deep threat, a medium threat, and a short threat. Does that make sense? So you got that slot guy that you can rely on. You got that short route run, medium to short route runner that you can rely on. Then you got the guy you could just throw it up to and go get it. Sure, they can still be guys that can create separation, absolutely. Which, but we definitely. That's another thing. I was asking the other day. Can somebody please in this chat? 21 people are watching. First off, pound the like button. Do me a favor, just smash it for me. Number 2, I need someone to find me statistical facts because I really, really would love to see this in that because I cannot find it. So I need y'all researching for me. Can someone find the separation rate of our wide receivers this past season? Can someone do that for me and send me the link? I'm really interested. I really want to see that because I have been trying to find that. Could someone do me a favor and find that for me? Because I would love to because I think that if I can find that, the true stats of last season, and find the separation rate of our wide receivers, our pass catchers, I guess, and tight ends probably be included in that. I would love to see that. I really would. So please, can someone find the separation rate of our wide receivers last season? I really appreciate that. Because I got a debate that I would love to start. I would really love to find that. But I just can't. I just can't seem to find it. All right, so let's go over some new things here real quick. Lomax, what's up? What's up? Okay, so yesterday was the NFL Combine. First day yesterday, by the way, of the NFL Combine. I don't know if any of you guys caught it. I don't know if any of you guys caught it, but got some stuff I'm going to share with you here. Well, first things first, I want to get to this guy. I'm going to share my screen real quick. What up, Lomax? Never really heard of separation being an actual stat until that past season. I know. Well, I knew it was a stat, but I can't seem to find the stats on that. So if anyone can find this question right here, if anyone in this chat can find the separation rate of the wide receivers this past season, please send it to me. I don't care if you're in the Discord, by the way, join it. You should. If you're in the Discord, send it to me there. If you're not and you're a subscriber or you're following me here, whatever the case may be, just put a link in the comment that has it. Because I'm really interested to finding the separation rate of our wide receivers this past season. Because I could bring up some debates to some content creators that really think that it's all, it was Bryce's fault not finding the open guys. But we watched there was times, yes, when we watched game films, guys. When I broke down game film, I was very fair. there was times where Bryce was it was his fault, and there was times where it was nobody there. So I'm just saying. I'm not on a computer right now, but if I can find it later, I'll send it to you on X. Josh, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that if you could. Yeah. Because I have found some that were like it was like mid-season, and then there was one like after week 1. But I'm talking about like the full season breakdown, or like the average or whatever for the full season. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. So we're gonna talk about day 1 of the NFL Draft Combine. NFL Draft Combine. We're gonna talk about this man right here. If y'all don't know who this is, y'all better get to know who this is.
Nice. He's moving. 168.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Jeez. Braden Fisk, defensive lineman out of Florida State. This dude moved. Just absolutely insane. You even heard him at the end there say, "Oh yeah." So I mean, he's the one who's definitely he's definitely a rising star right now. That's a lightning fast 40 for a guy his size. For those of you that don't know who this guy is, I'm going to tell you his size real quick after that draft combine yesterday. So he is 292 pounds. At least that's just what I don't know if he cut, because some of these guys, if you don't know, they cut before the combine. They try to cut as much weight as possible so they're as fast as possible during the combine. So but listed on his draft bio that I have, or draft bio I've made up for him, and a lot of people have the same size for him. Other draft like PFF has the same size for him. I think NFL Draft Buzz has the same size for him. But anyways, he's 292 pounds, 6'4", and he ran a 4.78. Insane. Kyrito, just go to just any of my videos, either my shorts or my or any of my live streams, my recent ones, and just comment it and post it in there. Just post it in there, and that'll be fine if you could do that. Or go to one of my community posts and just comment it in there. That'd be great. Got the Bosa Bros. Yeah. But I mean, just absolutely insane. But he set the world on fire yesterday with that. 4.78. He also had some agility through the shuttle. He had a 4.37 in the 20-yard shuttle, which is crazy. Obviously he's a slightly lighter frame with shorter arms, but his hustle and he had a solid broad jump too. I think this guy's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Another guy was Jackson, or I think you pronounce his name Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt. I'm not sure. Out of Houston Christian University. He's an edge rusher. Obviously he's supposed to be a day 2 selection. What a stature that guy's got. He's explosive. Got some seamless movements when I was watching him last night during the pass rushing drills. He turns his head well. His hips are great, but he was turning some heads there at the combine. So I think he's got a promising future on the defensive front. He's got hands that can create turnovers. He's got the speed that rattles quarterbacks. His stock is soaring right now. Byron Murphy, another guy, 297-pound guy. Runs a 4.87 40. He showcased his agility and power in this. He's got that physical built to play on Sundays. He's got smooth directional shifts. He definitely left no doubt out there yesterday. Chop Robinson obviously is aimed to silence Dialer with a display of athleticism. He delivered a blistering 4.48 40. And so here is Byron Murphy's 40. We'll watch that real quick.
Yeah.
Just ready for.
These were the unofficial time. That was the unofficial time, but I think it ended up going to 487. And then let's go over to, oh, wait, let's go to bookmarks. That's Fisk. Here is Rook.
Yeah, he's rolling.
4-9. If you didn't catch these guys yesterday. You got T'Vondre Sweat down here. We all know about this big boy. I mean, T'Vondre Sweat. I mean, he ran a 5.27. All right. But the guy weighs 366 pounds. What'd you expect? Okay. That's actually really good for a man his size. Okay. So don't think that that's slow for a guy who's 366 pounds. Okay. Dallas Turner was another one yesterday. Here's Dwayne Carter from Duke. A lot of people are high on him. Here was Chris Jenkins. That was this. He ran a 5.2 or 5.0 first, and then he runs this 4.91, which is insane. So that's huge for him. That's huge for him. I'm sure his former coach is watching that. Yep, and there he is. Here's Cedric Johnson. Damn, 38 inches. This was Braden's Fisk. This was the shuttle yesterday. Just absolute great movement. You see how he moves his hips here? Very good at sense of direction. Very clean footwork there. And then just moves. But this was the full defensive line yesterday. That was the defensive line. Let's see what else we got here. Do I have any more? This is Lietu 464. Now, some of these guys, if you don't know, some of these guys could be edge players too. Some of these guys are D-line edge. They could be edge rushers. But it's crazy. It was crazy. Some of these Peyton impressed me yesterday too. I'll show a highlight of him real quick. Here's Chop Robinson yesterday right here. Runs a freaking 4. Insane. Insane. Actually, y'all can't really see that, can you? Let me do this instead. There you go. A little bit better, right? So, and then this is a great comparison of Jared Verse here. Jared Verse. 6'3". So pretty Jared Verse out of Florida State. Here's Jared Verse's 40 time.
The Jared Verse would run again. He must want to try.
Oops. Let me get back to my bookmarks. Let me see what else we got here. I know I saved a bunch of stuff yesterday. There's Chop. Here's in the great view of T'Vondre Sweat yesterday with the movement here. I mean, the dude can move. I mean, for a guy who's 366 pounds, a little sloppy there on that spin move, but I mean, it wasn't sloppy. He just tripped and fell on the thing. But he fixed his feet there. Clay, who had the highest separation? Clay, I posted 2 links. I think the second is the best. I hope this is helpful. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you. You watched it live yesterday? No. Unfortunately, keep pounding. I was at a work conference, so I had to I didn't get home. I didn't get back into South Carolina. I flew from San Diego because I was in San Diego. I flew out on Sunday. Didn't get back until yesterday at 5:00. So anyway, so I had to I rewatched it. I was up till like 1, 2 in the morning watching the whole thing because luckily enough I have YouTube TV, so the NFL channel had it replaying, so I was able to rewatch the whole thing. And plus, I think even my YouTube TV recorded it for me, so I'm always able to go back and watch stuff. So it's a wonderful thing. All right, let's get back into this here. Let's get out of here real quick. Let's see. This guy was interesting yesterday too.
There he goes.
Adrian Cooper, 5'2". And then this is Dallas Turner's 40.
His top 50.
I mean, good Lord. Here's Dallas Turner's. He had a 40.5-inch vertical jump. Watch this slow-mo. I mean, that's just freakish athlete. Freakish athlete, man. Yeah, I was flying all day yesterday. Now here, hold on.
Got out.
This guy, holy crap. I didn't realize how fast Peyton Wilson was. All right. I didn't realize how fast this kid was. I think that they have him listed on most of when I was looking at the linebacker rooms, and I don't even think I have him listed at a 4.440 time. I think I have him listed on my draft thing because this was before he did the combine. I don't think his 40 time was even that high. Let me see on my draft board. And maybe I did have him listed. Jeremiah Trotter's right there. A lot of these guys. See, I'm going to have to maneuver my draft board around once this whole thing comes to fruition. Where did I have him? I thought I had him in the top 30. Like overall. I just want to see if I don't know if I even had him at a 40 time, which is the crazy part. I had him at a 4.5. I had him listed as a 4.540. Here you go. Those are just some highlights I got pulled up from yesterday's combine for you guys. Like I said, Dallas Turner. Now there are some guys that are kind of facing some heat. I will say Tommy Eichenberg, the Ohio State linebacker, is facing some heat. He's facing some heat right now. I will say that he's really facing some heat right now. He did not do well. Because he skipped the 40-yard dash, and then which kind of leaves some questions for me about his overall athleticism. Why he skipped the 40-yard dash, I don't know why. He obviously has some solid coverage skills. So his average physical metrics really failed to dispel concern. So basically, Eisenberg's draft fate now hinges on a stellar pro day performance. Jerzon Newton, absence from drills due to an injury, left me wondering about his obviously, and I'm eager to see this guy, but we'll see. With he's got surgery behind. With surgery behind him, he's got to prove himself worthy of a first-round pick. So his uncertainty looms over his draft stock. Darius Robinson, the Missouri edge rusher. Robinson's underwhelming 40 time at 285 pounds does raise some doubts about his explosiveness. While he definitely has the power because he's built like a brick shit house and has some quickness, but his overall showing kind of fell short, especially for first round expectations. I think Robinson's has time to redeem himself at a pro day, but he's going to have to show improvement, and it's going to have to be crucial. And then Braylon Trice is another one. His unexpected weight and injury issues during his drills definitely raised some flags for me. He's got a solid frame. I'll give him that, but he still had he didn't have a great performance, and he didn't impress me. So there are some doubts there. But obviously he's trying to secure really just a top 50 pick for himself, but he did not prove really much to me yesterday at the combine. So it is what it is. Some of these guys, like I said, things are going to change. Things are going to change when it comes to this stuff. All right, so let me see what you commented on there, Kyrito, because I want to go and check and see. Okay, so you got the Fantasy Pros one, I think. Pro Football Reference. Let me look at these. Advanced receiving. So what does this mean? Average depth of target when targeted, whether completed or not, targets. 16 games placed for card leaderboards. Okay, what's this rating mean? Passer rating or passes when targeted. So 25 targets, 16 games. All right, so maybe someone can explain to me this. Let's use this one. So maybe you guys can help me figure this out real quick. Is it raining? Oh, hold on, guys. I got to bring my dogs in. My dogs are outside. Hold on 1 second. It's raining. Mom, it's raining. Back. All right, sorry about that. So I had to let my dogs in. I had to let my dogs in. All right, so here's the thing that I was trying to find here. I will be streaming today, not sure about him. The NFL Combine, I don't know if I will. All right, so here we go. So this is important right here. I think I figured it out. So this is yards before catch per reception, yards after the catch, yards after the catch per receptions, average depth of target. So when targeted, whether completed or not, 25 targets, 16 games placed, pace required for leaderboards, broken tackles or receptions, receptions per broken tackle, drop passes per target, interception. So a passer rating on passes when targeted. So 25 targets. Okay, so for example, okay. So passer rating on passes when targeted. 25 targets / 16 game pace required for leaderboards. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what the separation. Okay, so guys, you know me, right? Or what my question was. I'm trying to figure out what the separation rating of these wide receivers were last season. What was the separation rating? So is that what this is? Because the passer rating on passes when targeted, is that what that is? I'm assuming so, right? Am I wrong? Average depth of target when targeted. So that's how far yards. Okay, this is yards after the catch per reception. Okay. I'm just trying to understand. That's all, guys. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. So keep pounding. That's the reason why I have Kyrito post this, was because my question was, I wanted to know what the separation rate of our wide receiver was past season. So what is the average separation rate of our wide receivers? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because it says, okay, because it says passer rating on passes when targeted is 80. Then it says 25 targets / 16 game pace required for leaderboards. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't see separation on there either. So it's like, I don't know how I can go based off of separate wide receiver separation. I'm trying to see here. PFF route concept and separation study. Which receivers and routes are creating the most separation for NFL? So EPA, drop back, completion, target windows. So how does this work? So in the 2023 regular season, all 4 teams that went on to make the conference championship ranked top 8 among all offenses in the highest percentage pass attempts in the open window. Okay. Using all coverage data created by route runners is involved to given the pass study qualifiers. Okay. So, okay, I got that. Okay. So open rate. Oh. So, wow. So kind of funny. I actually found something on PFF here. It says the highest in open rates on seam routes. Okay, so the average player combination creates separation below. The 49ers had the most successful the rest of the NFL utilizing their concept. So the 49ers says that has the highest on the seam routes. Giants were the lowest. Okay. So what if I go to if I go to Carolina Panthers? I follow y'all. Okay, so if we go to lineup. Now if we go to Chark, offensive grade, okay. Passing snaps, okay, that tells us that. Running snaps, okay. So backfield 1, slot, wide, okay. So let's go view his premium stats real quick. Because then I think it will tell us the separation on these guys. Okay, so based off my understanding after reading that last article. So based off of reading that last article. All right, hold on. So let's go back to this article. So we just read this article right here. We just read this article. So based off my understanding, the EPA dropped that completion. Yards per reception, percentage of targets caught. Snaps were running a receiver route. Okay. Percentage of snaps. Pass block snaps. Percentage of snaps. Yards after the catch. Okay. Contested catches, drops. Yards per route. I'm trying to understand though. Okay, so we read this and it says, so the windows correlate highly with efficient passing attack, target players, and instead of the tight windows, offenses moves well through the effective pass catchers offense. So the league average passing efficiency by degree of separation since 2020 is completion 77.9, yards after catch 5.4, EPA per dropback 0.3. Targeting tight windows. Okay, so that's the league average. So the number of factors influence whether or not a particular player gets open on each drop back, including scheme, play calling, route concepts, mismatches, individual ability. We can examine the relationship. Okay. By players and on any given play, not just the player target. Using this data, we determine which route concept players get open most, least often when creating high separation. Okay. So for DJ Chark, when he was in the slot, he didn't really get open. When he was outside, he got open. So that makes sense. He was more open when he was in the outside than he was on the inside. Okay, so that makes sense. I just kind of was hoping it'd be a little bit better to understand, but maybe I'll have to do some more research myself. Yeah. Where did you see it? It looked like DJ Chark was the one that was getting open the most, it seemed like, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. But, well, guys, that is today's show. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Obviously, make sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Time to start working on some the NFL Combine, or some draft content for you. I'm about to put out my top 10 tight ends. About to put out my top 10 offensive tackles. And then I'm going to put out my top 5 guards and top 5 centers, because after you get through these 5 that I'm going to mention, the talent decreases. And then I'm going to be talking about possibly Spencer Rattler being a dark horse in this draft. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member today. We already have 2 new members, I think Cyburn's been a member. Marcos Cash became a member today, and he gifted the Ropp Star report. He gifted it. You used one of his gifts. So that's great. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on new content. And of course, as always, y'all know what to do. Y'all really, really do know what to do. Keep pounding. Peace.